All right, what's up, everybody? Thanks again for coming through. David Brews back here again. Got another beer we're going to look at today. Today's beer is from Troeg Independent Brewing. It's called the Troegenator. Let's check it out. All right, so like I said, today's beer is the Troegenator by Troeg Brewing. It's a double bock. So for this beer, it's a 8.2% ABV. We got a 25 IBUs. So they use 3 different kinds of malts in this beer. They use chocolate malts, Munich malts, and Pilsner malts. So for the hops, they use 2 different kinds. They use German Northern Brewer hops and then Magnum hops. They use lager yeast. What else can we find out about this beer? All right, so let's look at Troeg's website and see what they have to say about this beer. What do they got here? Monks had fasting figured out. No food, no problem. Just drink a double bock. Thick and chewy with intense notes of caramel, chocolate, and dried stone fruit. Nader, as we call him, serves as a tribute to this liquid bread style. So I've had this beer a couple times. It's not my favorite beer, and to be quite honest, I'm not 100% looking forward to this review. Not for any reason other than I'm just not a huge fan of this beer. It's not a bad beer by any stretch of the imagination. It's a really good beer overall. It just has some things about it that I'm not so keen on, but we'll get into that once we crack it open and take a look at the beer itself. Real quick, over on Beer Advocate, we got they scored it with a 89. So it's a good beer. They call it very good. That's a very good rating, the 89 score. Lots of reviews on this beer, lots of positive reviews on it. Lots of people like this one. And like I said, it's not a bad beer. It's just not one that I'm super fond of. Oh, Troeg is out of Pennsylvania. I wonder where in Pennsylvania they are. Let's check that out real quick. Harrisburg. Yeah, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, I guess. I'm not sure when they opened up. But right, so Troeg's out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. At least that's what I could see here. All right, let's check this beer out. Alright, so that almost never happens. I don't normally over pour beers, and I'm not exactly in a place right now where I can afford to spill beer everywhere, so alright, so what are we looking at here? It's got like a ruby type of garnet type of color to it. There's no haziness, there's no sediment going on. Light tan, kind of like a wheat colored head on it. Man. Caramel right off the bat. Caramel and malts, and there's a fruit thing going on there too. A lot of people in the reviews were talking about stone fruit. I'm not so versed in what stone fruit is or what it tastes like or what it smells like, but that's what people are saying about the aroma and the flavor in this one. Is it has some stone fruit aspects to it, and I'm getting something fruity in it. I'm just not sure. I can't really put my finger on it. I'm assuming it's the stone fruit that people keep talking about. But yeah, caramel, malts, maybe some chocolate. I'm not really. There's something earthy there. And the one thing that I didn't mention originally was, again, this isn't a beer that I am super fond of. It's mainly, I guess, because it's so boozy. This is definitely a boozy beer. It's an 8.5%. But if you remember, we were reviewing the Sour Monkey. The Sour Monkey is 9.7, I believe. It's in the high 9s. and it doesn't taste like alcohol. Like it's not a boozy beer. It doesn't smell like alcohol. It doesn't taste like alcohol. But this one is a lower ABV, and you can smell the alcohol right on top. I mean, caramel and then alcohol is what I get initially. You know, some people like that. Some people like feeling like they're, you know, they're gonna get super smashed just drinking one beer. But it's not a characteristic in beer that I'm a super big fan of. All right, so let's see how it tastes. Cheers. All right, so what are we getting? Caramel, right off the bat. It's got like a sweet type of caramel flavor to it. Sweet in a sense that you can tell that there is some sweetness there, but it's not sickeningly sweet in any way. What else we got? There is a chocolate note in there. There's a chocolate note in there. It's very subtle. It's very dry chocolate flavor. But booze, man, booze. This beer tastes like booze. It tastes like alcohol. Which, you know, isn't a terrible thing. For most people, a lot of people like that flavor. I tell you, I'm not a huge fan of bourbon barrel aged beers for whatever reason. I like bourbon, I like whiskey on its own. I'm not a huge fan of beers that are aged in bourbon barrels, and I'm not really sure why. Since I do like bourbon and I do like whiskey, there's just something about it. And maybe it's just the ones that I've had in the past. Maybe I've just had the wrong ones. This isn't a bourbon barrel aged beer. It's a double bock. It's just really boozy. I don't want to diss this beer. It's a good beer. It really is. It's got a good balance to it. It's not too sweet. It's not too bitter. It has some of those caramel malty flavors that lots of people like. There is that dry chocolate flavor going on in the background. And then, yeah, there is some sort of fruit flavor happening too. Right at the very end, I can kind of taste it on the tip of my tongue. And yeah, I guess that's a stone fruit type of flavor. Again, I don't really know. I've never had a stone fruit. I don't know what stone fruit is. I don't know what it smells like, what it tastes like. But I know a lot of people that review beer or that taste beer mention stone fruit a lot in lagers and in IPAs. Different kinds of beers seem to have that flavor. Yeah, this is a decent beer. It's not my favorite, and I kind of wanted to do this beer. I wanted to review this beer because I know that all of the previous beers I've done I've given glowing reviews on because I love them. I love those beers. They're so good. But it is nice to throw something different in there every once in a while, something that maybe you're not so fond of or not familiar with, just so you can have a change every now and again. I think it is good sometimes to revisit beers that you've had in the past and weren't huge fans of, because over time your taste will change. You will start to appreciate other flavors as you get older, I feel. All right, so just real quick, what is a doppelbock? And it's spelled Doppelbock, Doppelbock. So what does Beer Advocate say about doppelbocks? Doppel meaning double. This style is a bigger and stronger version of the lower gravity German style Bock beers. Originally made by monks in Munich, the doppelbock beer style is very food friendly and rich in melanoidins, reminiscent of toasted bread. Color is copper to dark brown. Malty sweetness is dominant but should not be cloying. That's that sickening sweet type of thing going on. That when they say cloying, that's what they mean. Malt character is more reminiscent of fresh and lightly toasted Munich-style malt, more so than caramel or toffee malt. Double bocks are full-bodied and alcoholic strength is on the higher end. Yeah, that's true. They're saying the average is 6.6 to 7.9% ABV. This one exceeds that. The IBUs are usually pretty low, and the recommended glassware is a tulip glass. My tulip glass was dirty, so we're using this Pilsner glass. Honestly, I don't think it matters that much what type of glass you're using. Just as long as, if you're trying to smell the beer, you want your glass to taper in at the end, even if it's just a little bit. If you have those like those Chimay goblets or just regular ale glasses, they'll start small and then get bigger as they go up and just stop. They don't come back in. The reason why you want a glass that tapers in like that is so that the aromas are concentrated when they get to your nose. If it was wide open, all the flavors and all the aromas are leaving your glass, and you won't be able to get a good sense of the aromas in the beer if you don't have a glass that is like that. All right, so what else can we find out about this beer? I think we're going long on this review. Right, so Troeg makes Troeg has lots of beers. The first beer I had from Troeg was the Nugget Nectar. So I was really all about the Nugget Nectar for a while. But they do have a bunch of different types of beer. What was the one? Oh, they have this cranberry and blood orange tart ale, which is amazing. It's so good. But I'm seeing on their website that they have a bunch more. They have a boysenberry tart ale, which I haven't tried before. They have a nitro nugget, which I didn't know that they had. This Naked Elf and the Mad Elf I've heard a lot about, but haven't tried yet. Master of Pumpkins ale. So anyways, yeah, Troeg makes a lot of good beers. If you haven't had any beers by Troeg, I would definitely go check them out. The Perpetual IPA is one of my favorite IPAs. Let's see, what else are they? They got, they got a bunch of beers. They got a bunch of different kinds of beers, and variety packs. So I would go check out the variety pack right now. They're doing the winter sampler, which includes the Perpetual IPA, the Troegenator, the Blizzard of Hops, which is actually a really good IPA. I would check that one out. And then the Raspberry Blood Orange Tart Ale, which is fantastic. You should definitely go try that one out. I'm sorry, Cranberry Blood Orange. But all right, so what else do we? I don't know. I think that's what I got on this beer. Troegenator, double bock. Go check them out. If you like boozy beers, if you like beers that you can really taste and really get that alcohol feeling, then this is the beer for you. It's not one of my favorites, but it is a good beer. There's nothing wrong with this beer, I would say, other than the fact that the alcohol is just up front. The flavor of the taste of the alcohol is up front. But you may like that. You may like that. I'm not a huge fan of it, but you may like that. So I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing next as far as a beer review. I will be posting on my Instagram. It's davidbrews1. I'm also on Facebook. So if you're following me on Facebook, I'll be posting stuff about what I'm going to be tasting next. I do actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I do have an idea. There is a relatively new brewery around the area that I'm at that I really want to review some of their beers. Right, so it's called Altered Suds. I think what I'm going to do sometime either the end of this week or the beginning of, or maybe the weekend or something, is run out there up to Warrenton and see if I can grab some beers in the cans and then review those, because I went up there I think maybe 2 weeks ago for the first time, and the guys that are running it are people that I know. They're really good guys, so I'll be checking those out. Hopefully next week. I think maybe that's what I'll be doing. So it's not unless you're in the area, it's not a beer that you'll be able to taste with me, but we're gonna check it out anyways. But yeah, thanks for coming through, y'all. Really appreciate it. See you next time.